morning, this is Geraldine, a hobby demonstrator from Canberra, Australia. Today I thought we'd look at some of the books that I collect that were an inspiration for the next project that I did with the Stampin' Up! Products. During the 1950s we used to get these carousel books. So you buy them like this and they're cut out and you see a scene with the story. And you start at number 1 and then you go around looking at the story. This happens to be the Three Little Pigs. They were often little fairy tales and things like that. Then you just close it up and you can put it back on your bookshelf. This was my inspiration for my next project. Along with that, I saw this designer series paper in the celebration, the current celebration. No, it's just ended, sorry, 30th of September. Where you got these Playtime Playmates, designer user paper. And the other thing that inspired me was these layering diorama dies. They're in the current annual catalogue. So I put the two together, wrote a little story and made my own carousel book. The little story I called A Beanie for the Snowman, because that's what's really told on one of the pages. And I imitated the traditional way of making carousel books, but I simplified it for my purposes. So I changed the shape, normally just a rectangle, and I made it in the shape of a mountain, a snowy mountain. And I fussy cut characters out of the DSP. The paper, if you remember, has characters on it. So they inspired me. There were 3 or 4 versions, and one of them had the bear and the penguin building a snowman, and it had the bird dropping the beanie that he'd stolen from someone. And I thought, well, there's a story in that. So did some fussy cutting, used the diorama dies to create the scenes, the basic foundation of the scenes. And then a whole lot of framelets of trees, like in the woods. That's really nice. That's out of Sweet Silhouette dies. I used those. The Majestic Mountain dies, Inspiring Canopy dies, and Cabin dies. I got some little snowflakes out of Seasonal Chums. This is all made of the paper bead making, bit of seam binding, bit of velvet ribbon. I've forgotten the colour, but it's Stampin' Up! And if we'll open it, I'll show you the top first. So you open it around like that, and then you can see that it has four layers of foundation, all white to simulate the snow, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenes. So we might go through the scenes one at a time. That would be fun. So I'll lay it flat, and this is the first scene. So you can see where I've used dies, fussy cut the characters, and built up a depth of scene by using the 4 foundation pieces. And the little story is in this little mini book. It says, "It's snowing, and Polly Penguin, Bailey Bear and Freya Fox know this means time for fun on the slopes." The snow, I used acetate and embossing folder. It was just a grunge one, and I thought it looked quite good. This is the second scene, and it says, "The friends make their way up the mountain to the snowy slopes." See, there's lots of trees in here, different trees stamped at the back, cut out ones on dies, and the three little friends there. Here is the whole gang playing in the snow. I'll just read you the story. Great fun is had by all, tobogganing, chasing each other and climbing trees. Don't know if you can see in there, but the bear and the penguin are all hanging from the trees and they're all having a lovely time. And there's a little bird up there. The next one is building the snowman. Polly and Bailey make a snowman until they realise something is missing. Can you see what it is? The snowman doesn't have a beanie. And this is the final one. The little bird has pinched the beanie off Freya the fox, who's sleeping through all this excitement. And I'll read you what this little story says. A bird flies down and steals Freya's beanie and drops it on the snowman's head. A perfect day on the slopes is complete. So that's my version of a carousel book. The method I used to make this particular type of carousel is different to what's done in these types. These are all one long page. So you can see at the top, that goes right around the edge. So it's one very long page. The same with the inserts. So there's 1, 2, 3 of those. I thought that might be a bit difficult to manage, so I did each scene separately. The basis of the scene are 4 cut out diorama layers with a mountainous top. Now, to get the mountainous top, I used the Majestic Mountain die, this one. But I needed to be able to get the die on the top of the card paper, so I was finding it difficult, so I cut the bottom off. So, I mean, you could still use it like that, but you'd have to line it up pretty well on a magnetic base or something like that. So that's why you can see the mountainous edges are pretty consistent. Trial and error, I made up the widths of each of these layers and then glued them all together for each scene. So I had 5 scenes. And then the first scene is glued to the front of the book, and then each of the other scenes are glued to each other until you get to the back, where the back takes up the whole back page. So you can see that it's loose in here because it needs to be to have the flexibility to move around, but it's stable at the backs. This is what the back of it looks like, with the paper made into beads. I've called it a carousel book using Stampin' Up products. I put ribbon, as these people do, except they glue it right across the back. I didn't want to do that, so I poked holes and put some brads in there. This one was just a little, this is a 2-pronged brad. I did the brads to ensure that the ribbon would not pull away and pull the first scene off. You see how it's very stable. I didn't think glue would be sufficiently strong, so that's why I did those. And there you have it, a beanie for the snowman. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.